You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, episode 46.
Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where positivity and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha. I am your host, Omileti Olubunmi.
Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I am Omileti. Thank you for spending some of your time with me to talk about all things Orisha, spirituality, and growth. So turn up the volume in your car and put on your earbuds or grab a cup of coffee or tea. I'm good for keeping hydrated, people. So let's listen in and chat. This episode is being brought to you by our sponsor, Alejos 101. This is a program created for the new person, the Alejos who are eager to get started and want someone to help them through the process. It's also for the Aborishas who, for one reason or another, they don't have a godparent, but this is the journey that they want to continue on. Want to get started? Then Alejos 101 is a great choice. It's an in-depth program with year-long benefits that will guide you through the A to Z's of being an Alejo or an Aborisha and have a great experience in the process. Want to know more? Go to www.orishawisdom.com/A101 coming soon. This is an Ask a Priest episode. For those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome. This is a series in the podcast where you, the community, asks questions that you've always wanted to ask an Orisha priest. Like if you see a Babalao, you see a Santera, you see an Olorisha, you've always wanted to ask. And maybe you just don't know them. Maybe you just see them from afar and they're like, oh, they're never going to talk to me. This is your chance. I will put on the show notes how you can ask your burning question for a chance for it to be answered here on the podcast. In case you really want to know, it's orishawisdom.com/ask a priest, no dashes. With that, let's get this episode started. Jackie asks, how do I go about choosing a godfather? First of all, thank you so much for your question. I mentioned in the last podcast episode that it was going to be the perfect segue for this episode. And here we are. This is a great question and one that we get asked so many times, and the answer differs from person to person, but the process stays the same. I'm going to, in this response, it's not an all rounded, like it's not an all inclusive response, but it's going to be a great start. And I am going to include a few resources to help you with this. And you all know how much I love lists. So, in no particular order, here you go. Number one, I know that you mentioned Godfather. It doesn't have to be a godfather. It could be a godmother. It could be either or. I just wanted to point that out. First things first, because it stood out just now. I'm like, wait, she said godfather. It could be a godmother. I have a godmother. Anyway, I just thought that I would point that out. I'm sure that's what you meant. But just in case, there you go. A very important point that I am going to bring up is to do your homework. If you have been part of any, and I mean any amount of forums, you might have gotten somebody who may have rudely or just very bluntly told you, do your homework. Don't just jump in because someone told you something profound and you're like, oh my God, this is a sign. There are a lot of things to consider, and you must honor the process. Let's talk about homework. What does that mean in our discussion right now? A couple of things. Let's see. What lineage is it that you're most comfortable with, and which one brings you array? Ire means good fortune. You could love candomblé. I know I do, but my ire may be somewhere else. So you could love candomblé, but your ire is in Lukumi. Investigate, participate, ask questions, attend events, get your readings done, get your spiritual work done, and give those readings and spiritual work time to manifest and invest the work and time that it's going to take, however long it takes. I met someone. I remember I was at a bembe, and when you are very young and starry eyed, I am so grateful for the elders because they'll come to you and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I have no idea what's going on." And I was just starstruck with all the priests and the Orishas were starting to come down. And this person said, "You see her?" So this person was mounted by Elegba because that's her crowning Orisha. And I was like, wow, that is so amazing. And then I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait until it's my turn. And I remember that this priest kind of slid over to kind of whisper in my ear because the drums are really loud. She waited 30 years to crown. And I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? I'm ready to do it like tomorrow. Because I was busy at a bembe that day, so I couldn't do it that day. Had to wait at least a day, according to me. And the point is that this person had to wait a really long time to finally get all her ducks in order for her to initiate, which is why I'm saying however long it takes. Another point, how is this person that you're considering living their life? Is he a thug? Is she a drug dealer? Is this a person who broke up a marriage because they slept with a married person or somebody in a relationship? Is this a good parent or a deadbeat parent? It's going to sound judgmental, but this is going to give you a good sign into what type of godparent they will be to you. Another point, are they living well or are they living in a shack under a bridge? I know it's just a saying. I'm trying to make a difference and to give you a perspective. Truth is that you want somebody who's able to live well. I didn't say rich, but just well, comfortable. Someone who is able to manifest a decent living standard into their lives. If you go to this person's house, are there five piles of dirty dishes from 2 weeks ago? And is it raining roaches from their walls? And are the mice doing the tango when you step in? This might not be a good choice. Think about this for the moment. You will be spending a lot of time with this person. Some of those nights can be very long. You may need to sleep over. You may need to do a Bose in the middle of the night, and you're going to crash in people's couches. It's just the way that it works. How can they help you with your living standard if they are not well themselves? There's a saying amongst the Yoruba that you cannot give ashe that you do not have. Just something to think about. Another point I have, what is this person's teaching style? Are you a person who likes a lot of structure? Some people function very well with a very strict structure. Some people function better when the situation is more lax. Do you ask a million questions and do you need to get each one answered? That doesn't mean that you're going to get everything you ask answered, but it should be someone who is responsive to you. Do they yell a lot? Do they make fun of their other godchildren? Do they make them examples in public? Like, yeah, this person, and no sabe nada. That means it doesn't know anything. Or this is one that I've heard. You're an embarrassment. I've heard that one. Like, you have to be very mindful and observant of how these godparents are treating their existing godchildren. Speaking of godchildren, how are they doing? Are they also well? How long have these godchildren been in this spiritual house? Have they been around a long time? which is usually a good sign. You really want that. Or is this a Macy's revolving door? Is it a new person that you see every month because the last people just disappeared? Hmm. Do you really know this person? All of the things that I mentioned above lead me to one of the biggest points in choosing a godparent, and that is time. You have to spend a good amount of time with them to get to know them. How many events have you attended in their home? It's usually in their home anyway. Do you like the vibe of their home? Do you like how you feel after you've left their home? How many ceremonies have you attended? Even if it's to help, because you're not going to be helping out in the room with the priests if you're new. And even for many Aborishas, they don't get to help in the room, but you'll be there. You can learn a lot from what you hear and see. So even if you're there to help in the kitchen or to sweep the floor, how many have you attended? Or are you those people who are considering a godparent and you call them maybe once every 3 months when something may not be doing right? And that's when you blaze their phone. Hmm. These are very important things to consider, and it has to do with time. You cannot do it in a quicker way. You just can't. It's very, very rare to find somebody that, oh, that's it, and it works out. Very rare. This leads me to another point. Who can be a godparent? There's a great resource online by Iya and Acho. She has been a guest on the podcast. She is the creator of aboutsanteria.com, and I love her site. It is filled with information. She is a very giving person when it comes to information. And she has this really short and sweet to the point blog post. It is, I'll put it in the show notes, but I'll tell you about it right now. About santeria.com/godparents. Basically, what you're going to be focusing on right now is an olorisha or a santero, which means a priest of Orisha. That's usually going to be the one that you're going to focus on at the moment. And the main thing that this person has to have is that they have to have gone through OCHA, what we call OCHA or cariocha. That means they have to have gone through initiation. There are other types of godparents, but this is the one that you're definitely going to be focused on first. Now, let's say that you have put in the time and work for about a solid 2 years. You have attended everything that you can attend, even if it's 30 events a year, even if it's a reading or a ceremony for someone else and you really want to help out, like everything you can totally get an invite to, and you've attended and you really, really like this person. Now, now it's going to be the time to discuss some stuff. We have a free resource at Orisha Wisdom called The Top 5 Things to Know Before Choosing a Godparent. And you can get it by going to orishawisdom.com/godparents with an S. It's a great starting point for you to have those things in mind. Like, boom, this is one important thing. Boom, this is another. So, since it's all there, you can go there and get your own. Speaking about discussions, this is where I strongly, strongly suggest Oh My Godparents. This is a resource which pays for itself because it walks you through many scenarios as to the what to do, and it tackles the long prospect of this conversation. There is a set of questions that is there in this particular resource to start the process of speaking with him or her about and what to ask. And this is just a beginning, but it's a great set of solid questions to help you. You can get that at www.orishawisdom.com/OMG for Oh My Godparents. Haha, I like it. Speaking with other priests, they tell me that there was so much that they did not know when they got a godparent, especially when it came to expectations, and that put a strain on their relationship. Which brings me to the next point. You have to know fully what is expected from you and discuss it thoroughly. Whatever scenarios you come up with, discuss them. This is going to be so important. Now, let's say you've done all of this. You've done the 2 years hanging out. You like them. You like the godparents. They live well. They're nice. They have challenges. They're not perfect, but they're really good people. And you like this family and you're thinking about this godfather or potential godmother. Take your time to think about this. You might be very high on emotions and you think that this is the best person ever and you're so giddy with joy. Stop right there. This is where many thousands of dollars of a mistake are made. Stop. Take the time to meditate and to really think this through. You have to be 100% and then 115 more percent sure that this is the person for you. If there is just one little shred of a doubt, stop right there. Your spirit might be trying to warn you of something. And another bit, it just might not be your time. I've mentioned this before that when I was younger, I was ready to initiate and I didn't care if it was Daffy Duck or Mickey Mouse. Did not care. I just wanted to get initiated. And the truth is, looking back, I had the energy. I could stay up all night. I don't think I was ready for it. Knowing now what I know, to handle the responsibility, to understand the level, the service, the amount of work that you have to do with a godparent, I just wasn't ready, which is why I said it might just not be your time. This is another point. It now takes me to a very big point, if not the biggest point, the organic energetic process. This is a process of energy. You have embarked on this journey. Yes. You have let your ancestors know. Yes. And you're meditating about this and you're wishing every morning that you want to meet this great godparent. And these readings that you're getting from this godparent are awesome. And you need leques. And so you're about to get them. Stop right there. Yes, you may need them, but it doesn't have to be the second and it doesn't have to be with that person. I've mentioned this as well before. It is very rare, very, that people stay with the first person who reads them. I've only seen that once in my life, just once. I've heard about the other, but with my eyes, I've only seen it once, or at least my ears, because I know this person. Sometimes this person, the one that you're getting the readings from and you're getting to know, they are like a bridge to take you to another part of your journey. You will either meet someone new or the energetic flow will take you to where you need to go. Oh, that rhymed. I should put that in a rhyme somewhere. It sounds woo woo. I know. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it. After speaking with so many folks, they tell me their stories, and the one common denominator is that all the stories were different, all of them. Their journeys are all unique on how they landed with their godparent. You have to accept the process. You have to immerse yourself in it. You have to know that there is a place for you. And the fun of it is the journey. Part of this journey is to pick a person who is going to spiritually guide you. And for example, it took me more than a decade, and I don't regret it. I'm going to share with you the last resource. The last resource is a great podcast episode. It is called Godparents Demystified. I mentioned that Iya Enyi Acho was a guest. This is where she really brought it. She brought on the all her nuances about choosing a godparent, what it meant to her. She shared her journey. We really dove deep into questions that people have and challenges that people have, and how it doesn't have to be so complicated. I am going to put this, of course, on the show notes. But if you need to know it now, it's www.orishawisdom.com/36. It was an amazing episode. And I'm so grateful to her for helping our community to really dive deep into not making it such a complicated process, but telling you the truth about what it is to get a godparent and the journey and a lot of advice. I am hoping that these have helped you and will point the way for you to know what you need to know before choosing a godparent. Thanks again, Jackie, for this question. You have asked it, but it is a big question that is asked by many, if not all of us at some point. I know I asked this question a lot. You have reached the end of this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me until close to the end. We're almost there. Couple of things. This episode was brought to you by Alejos 101, program written for the brand new person in the Orisha Traditions in mind, as well as the Aborisha who has been struggling to find their way. For details, when this program opens, and I promise you it is opening really soon, go to www.orishawisdom.com/A101 coming soon and get on that list because you deserve to start the year on a great spiritual direction. Here are the resources that we discussed. I am going to put Enyiacho's Godparent blog post about santeria.com/godparents. The 5 top things to know before choosing a godparent is www.orishawisdom.com/godparents with an S. Our super thorough, oh my God, parents, this is very thorough on this topic. OrishaWisdom.com/OMG. And here's a quick note. There's a limited time discount and it's over $70 off right now. So if that's something that you absolutely are considering, save your time and future money, because if you do not spend your money on initiations right with the right person, you may have to do all that again. And it's just so not worth it. So get it. It's at a great discount right now. And lastly, Godparents Demystified with, again, Iya Enyi Acho, and that is www.orishawisdom.com/36 because it's the 36th episode. Some of you may know that I am notorious for making calls and hanging out with folks in our community to see how I can help, or maybe I can point in the right direction, or something that I've seen that really stood out. And many have told me that in gratitude that they would like to send me an ashedi or to send me some money. They're like, yeah, what's your PayPal? And I never, ever take it unless I perform a service. If you want to help this podcast and you want to contribute, then support our sponsors, either Alejos 101 and Olubunmi Creations. You can find out about all of this by going to www.orishawisdom.com/Iya Omileti. I feel much better getting funds or getting paid for a service for something that I do. So if you want to support the podcast, you've been asking, I've gotten emails, I've gotten notes. This is a great way to do it. And I'm thrilled to do it because now we're having an even exchange of energy, especially since we now are going to have Orisha merch and other art. Yes, Orisha mugs, Orisha t shirts. I am pretty stoked. And there are Orisha Ademu dishes, like little offering dishes. There are two sizes. The little one is so cute. It's like 3 to 4 inches. It's very cute. It's very small. And then the big one is 6 inches. It's really nice so that you can have something to give to your rishas and to put your little ademus. I love it. So if you want to support the podcast, that is the way to do it. Remember, if you have a burning question that you've always wanted to ask a priest in the Orisa traditions, Ask a Priest is here to help with that. Go to www.orishawisdom.com/ask a priest and ask away. If your question is chosen, we'll let you know, and it's going to get answered in the podcast. Exciting stuff, right? A lot going on. And this is great for the start of a new year. For show notes, go to www.orishawisdom.com/46. If you liked this episode and found it valuable to you and your growth, share this podcast episode so that someone else can also get something out of it, especially this one, because it's going to be key to what to do to find a godparent. If you have 5 minutes and less for you youngins that are like so mega fast on social media and phones, hop on over to iTunes and leave us a review. I read each and every one, and they help to keep us on the map. They give us the fuel that we need to keep going and to keep creating more content for your spiritual journeys. They really mean the world to me. And if you are on YouTube, like the episode, subscribe, and click on that little bell icon so that you will be the first to know when there is a new video uploaded. Stay tuned for the next episode where we will go through another of your questions from Ask a Priest. The next one is going to cover a question that really jumped at me because it's a good one and it has to do with divination. That's all that I'm going to share for now. I don't want to give it away, but I can't wait. Until next time, may the elevated ancestors and all Orisha bless you immensely. Odabo.
Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.